What up, friends? Geoff Fienberg here with you on a Friday afternoon, talking all things golf in the middle of the Byron Nelson Classic. Looks like we're going to have that cut line come in right at 6. I am probably far more interested in discussing what we are seeing on the PGA Championship odds board. Granted, I don't think many adjustments have been made by the books just yet, but there's a player you want me to discuss with my guest, Andy Lack. I'll be bringing him on in a few minutes. We will keep an eye on the PGA at Byron Nelson, but mainly just want to, what I might even call my first cut. My first cut. No, I don't really want to bring a red marker out. I don't really want to. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple guys I'm blindly could put red ink through that I simply have zero interest in betting. But yeah, essentially a what I would consider a first cut. Granted, I'll probably let you know a pocket of golfers that I'll probably be deciding between when we get to next week. And hey, if you know me, there's probably no secret about it. You could probably write them on a napkin right now. And when I give them to you, through this show, you could say, yep, that's how well I know Fienberg. Simple enough. I'm not hard. I'm not hard to read. I'm the best and the worst at poker. I don't play a lot of poker. I'm more like talking in-person poker because I'll make that same stupid smirk with aces that clearly give away aces. But you can catch me making it when I got 4-6 offsuit or something stupid. Maybe that's a good hand. I don't know. Shows you how little I play poker. But I'm always capable of just, I can be an easy guy to read. At the same time, maybe a hard guy to read. Nonetheless, we'll get into it. I am excited. Don't really expect to go far down that PGA Championship leaderboard. And before I even get into that discussion, there's that simple discussion of, or not so simple discussions of, hey, what odds range, where have the major winners been coming from? Where have the first time major winners been coming from? At the same time, what is really the point of looking farther past the board than, odd X? Because it's highly improbable the winner will come from there based on what we've seen at major championship golf. And then to piggyback on that, Kiawah Island. A lot of people have already started to, froth at the mouth with seeing the score sheet and the yardage. Will it play? Is it being yarded out one way and playing that long? That could be two different conversations. So a lot of people watched that 2012 replay that was on the Golf Channel the other day. You look at that 2012 leaderboard from Kiawah Island. Rory wins by a touchdown. But a lot of feisty Euros in behind that wouldn't necessarily for those times have been the longest hitters on tour. So maybe a lot of us are just blindly looking at the PGA Championship all wrong. That is something I'm really excited to talk to Andy about. And we'll obviously get into our first instincts. Staying on the board, PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com, promo code FTN, 100% instant match bonus up to $100. It's you versus the projection over at PrizePicks.com. Interesting seeing at PrizePicks, guys. They have season-long props up for your quarterbacks already. Looking forward to doing something with that. I am a Justin Herbert fanboy. He is coming in at 4,400 over under on his passing yards. Essentially the same number as Aaron Rodgers. Should I be flattered about that? Probably. Josh Allen, 4,500. Tom Brady, 4,500. High water mark on PrizePicks, Patrick Mahomes, 4,900 yards. Do you have a vibe on that? Hey, I don't, hard to imagine any situation where he wouldn't hit that number. And the second biggest total coming in at 4,650. Dak Prescott with the second biggest yardage prop on the board. Our friends at PrizePicks and their projections are telling you something with what they believe Dak Prescott is going to be up to this year. Certainly. Oh, man. Sorry, I have a child screaming upstairs, and it's really bothering me. She's probably just being rude to her sister. Life. That's my life. Don't worry about it. Sticking on that quarterback board for Prize Picks. Interesting to note, seeing Lamar Jackson, the clear low water mark here at 3,200 yards. Did they do enough to improve their passing game to have you interested in Lamar Jackson at 3,200 yards? And the rookies are up. Lawrence at 4,100 yards. Zach Wilson, 3,700 yards. All very interesting. Which Ryan Fitzpatrick shows up in Washington, because that is 3,900 yards. You can make your Prize Picks power play. If you don't even think a guy's going to get through the season healthy but play week 1, hey, go put an under on Ben Roethlisberger. You see 16 games out of Big Ben? 4,300 yards. It's a pretty serious projection. You're asking me you're asking for one from me right now blindly. I gotta pick one. I'll play an under. Ben Roethlisberger, 4,300 yards. There are a lot of things that can come into play there. Him being great seems far less likely. Might be more how that team finished. Might be more that team's current reality. I don't know. We did get a schedule. We're obviously a lot of us in big time football mode, but next week is a major. It's a major. I'm super fired up. I'm going to bring Andy Lack on here in a couple minutes, and we'll get right into the PGA Championship. On that note, congratulations, Phil Mickelson. I'm really proud of you. I think you came to your senses. I had debated this quite a bit with Tim Anderson, Pat Mayo, on and off over the last few months. I had really hoped and was disappointed when there were reports early on that Mickelson would not take the invite to the U.S. Open. That bothered me. He'd earned it. And I'm happy he's come to his senses and finally clued in and say, you know what? I have earned it. And I should be able to do this absolutely guilt-free. Absolutely guilt-free. There should be absolutely nothing a guy like Phil could learn from Ricky Fowler right now. There shouldn't be anything. There shouldn't be anything a guy like Phil could learn from Ricky Fowler. But one thing I tell you, I think he did learn from Ricky Fowler in the last couple of weeks is you could be shameless about things. And Phil Mickelson is far more deserving of being shameless and being given an opportunity into this U.S. Open at Torrey Pines, a hometown. I know we like to give Phil many hometowns, but if he saw how Ricky conducted himself, upon getting that exemption next week into the PGA Championship, which, Ricardo today, man, not enough. He's sitting at 5 under. That cut's certainly going to be 6. So he didn't get in. Phil Mickelson, completely. I'm happy you took that exemption. You learned from Ricky Fowler that you can be shameless and do something. If Ricky can take that PGA Championship exemption next week and be totally shameless about it and do it guilt-free, you absolutely, sir, are able to take that U.S. Open exemption, and I would be horrified to hear anyone giving Phil a hard time for doing that. I really would. He's absolutely earned it. He has earned it. And if it is nothing more, if you want to listen, years ago, me and Pat started making jokes. He's like, a mascot's it's a derogatory term. It comes off as derogatory in this sense, but he's just like a face of the game. A mascot in the most politest sense of the game. He should be everywhere. I see no rush. If he can make cuts, which he has kind of been doing, well, I shouldn't say that. He had that great first round a couple weeks ago, and then it really went backwards. But nonetheless, he can do whatever he wants. And at some point, he can go full-time to Champions. But he absolutely deserves to walk Torrey Pines in front of that gallery and be applauded for what he has done. And I don't know what the new template will be for President's Cups, Ryder Cups in terms of the year now that we got set off a year and we're going to play one in 2021 that should have been 2020. I don't know how we reset our calendars with that. That's for them, not for me. But we've got that Ryder Cup coming up in New York. And I want to say it's the one, Wisconsin. And then where are we? In Rome? I want to say then we're in Rome or Italy. And then we're going to come back to New York, I believe. And Phil should be captain in New York. Phil should be captain of that team in New York. It's many years from now. Until then, absolutely proud of Phil Mickelson finally accepting that exemption into the U.S. Open. It should have happened. Well, you could say the other way. He could have earned his way in, but he's totally worthy and deserve that. Deserve that. PrizePicks, PrizePicks.com, promo code FTN. I will be making my weekend power plays, mixing some UFC, NHL playoffs getting going. The golf numbers will be up later tonight for the weekend. So again, never forget my good friends at PrizePicks. And we've got those full season NFL props. You want me to give one? Ben Roethlisberger to the under 4,300 yards. That's where I am on that. Andy Lack. I'd like to bring Andy in now if he's here with me. Tino, Andy Lack, ADP Lack Sports, pickthepup.com. Some very good golf write-ups I have found over there when following Andy. And, oh, man, I am watching the wrong feed, so I can't tell if he has been brought in.
I'm in, buddy.
Professionally. Andy, what is up, my man? Don't really care to waste too much time talking about the Byron Nelson. The one thing that I kind of gave is it's like a pro tip. When you're in an event like this that's hyper scoring, if you want to bet on a guy that played great early on Thursday, but you hadn't bet him yet, you have to wait for the guys to go out Friday morning, because then he's going to be like 7 strokes behind the lead, 8 strokes, as opposed to betting him overnight and the books react to him being 2 strokes behind the lead. So it just seems like a parade of birdies once again. If you look at the bottom of the board, if you're trying to figure out if a guy's game is in a bad place, I mean, you just look at the bottom of this leaderboard, right? If you couldn't make birdies here, I mean, I can respect missing the cut by a stroke, but if your game just seemed lost here, I mean, you're in probably worse trouble than we were giving credit for, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it looks like the course is playing a little bit more difficult today, which I guess is nice to see. I think there was a chance there that a winner would need to get potentially to 25 under. I think it's probably going to end up being closer to 20. But yeah, I mean, some pretty shocking results early on. Like Cameron Champ, he's over par. My guy, Jason Day, Doug Gim, obviously the putting struggles continue, but hey man, looks like both of us have a little bit of KH Lee action. So that's great to see.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from. I honestly don't. I've been running so bad. I don't even know which smart golf person jumped into my account and then like literally midnight on Wednesday made some KH Lee 200 to 1, like Hail Mary. I don't know who did it because I don't think it was me, but it's in there and it'll be fun to finally be like, have a sweat. Oh, I'm expecting the worst, but I'm looking forward to a sweat that'll probably end badly, but good for KH. Last time around, he got the lead on Friday and then proceeded to have to flirt with the cut. Yeah, I don't really care to talk about this tournament much. I think there's way too much golf that still kind of needs to happen. So if I do talk about it, I'll probably just say something stupid. So instead, let's just say something stupid, or at least I certainly will, as it pertains to the PGA Championship. I don't want to waste any time talking about it because before I kind of get into this odds board with you, and I think it's probably best, like we could probably just ignore the top 6 names. Like I'm probably going to bet on one of them, but I haven't made that decision yet. And no, there's nothing. I don't know. I don't even know what.
Hey, quick question, Geoff. Is Hovland top 6? Would you consider him in that category?
No, I just mean like the odds board pricing.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing 6 guys priced essentially 14 to 1 and below.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Hovland's
Rory,
18.
Bryson, Justin, Rahm, JT, Spieth. The way this course, it does feel like, listen, as I said on Wednesday, if I got like buddies and I have a lot of them who they'll bet the majors, they're certainly not betting Byron. They'll bet like Phoenix the day of the Super Bowl and the majors and like the players. They're not in for no grind. Once in a while, maybe they'll wake up Sunday, make a bet. Like part of me would be like, I don't know, pick 2 of those guys, like 14 to 1, 12 to 1 each. Pick 2 of them. I'm sure Sunday when you finally turn the tournament on, you'll like be into it. if you have two of the, like, pick from two of those six. I guess before we like deep dive this, like, is that a reasonable strategy?
Yeah, I would just include Hovland in that because Hovland I see now
you don't have to sell me on that.
Yeah.
There's a book that I have that is, yes, I've been kicked off of, but it is the easiest for me to access. Like, everyone has it. It's all my friends. Like, it's really, I can make bets in there. I really do consider it like a go-to book. They've dropped Hovland to 22 and they were in that like 28, 25 range. So obviously
I'm seeing Hovland 18 on FanDuel right now.
Yeah, I am seeing that, but it's 28 on DraftKings.
Oh, wow. That's great. I may do that right now.
Yeah. Seriously. Listen, I love Dave Tyndall. He does great write-ups. He does his great like 10-year trends pieces that they're just like, using the last 10 years trends of the winners and then their lead up form and their, career form, who has won this thing. And it spat out Bryson, Victor, Berger, and there was a fourth name, or maybe there wasn't. But those were the names that his like trends, he does that before every major. It's a great read. Go read it. So yeah, I mean, there's so many things pointing to Victor. Just I guess quickly then. This is, I'd rather talk about this than like the betting range of winners because it's the week of the major and I'm always convinced one of these big boys wins. In the end, it'll just be like another like Hideki 50 to what, like great moment that will, I don't mean great moment, but it does.
I got you. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Like I'll be so hyper focused. I'll be this great golfer that we've all bet a ton. Oh yeah. And then we're just happy for you. So good for you. You see the odds, you see the yardage number, and like you instantly want to put red ink through a bunch of guys, but then you sort of catch any of like 2012 and you stare at that leaderboard. And I don't know what sort of changes have been made to the course. It's playing longer or it's yet longer on the book than it was in 12, but there are guys up there that are grind. I mean, behind, obviously you acknowledge Rory wins by a touchdown, but like for a moment, I have to allow myself to look past that and see who else played well. It's like feisty Europeans. A lot of them can drive the ball pretty well, but some of them can't, or like very long, I should say. And they make up a big part of that leaderboard. So it's like, who is, the Poulter or GMAC of today? And you're like, I don't like a Matthew Fitzpatrick or ugly week for Matthew. You almost wonder if this
too
course
easy
is too
for
easy.
him.
Yeah,
too easy for him. Yeah.
Wait, sorry, that's a narrative. But when you do this here, Matthew, we're only going to bring this again next time. Like, yeah, too easy for you. But next week, 7,800 yards and windy, Matthew Fitzpatrick. Like, so in terms of that, like, are you able to separate, or are you just like going to go all balls to the wall, like big hitters? Because this week was supposed to be big kind of hitters, but a lot of people were playing like your Matt Kuchars, and a lot of them are doing just fine.
Yeah, I did play Matt Kuchar. Geoff, I have a question for you because it seems like me, you, and Mayo are literally the only people in the world that like betting on this guy. Do people just hate Tyrrell Hatton? Like, I'm just hearing everybody going absolutely nuts over Matt Wallace this week. And Wallace is fine, don't get me wrong. He's not half as good as Tyrrell Hatton. And Tyrrell Hatton's the number 9 ranked player in the world sitting at 50-1. So I have bet that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm seeing Hatton as low as 30. I'm seeing Hatton as high as 50. I can understand Hatton at 30. You're like, listen, at 30-1, I can bet Patrick Reed. I can bet Daniel Berger. I can bet, if I believe Cantley's in form, I can bet Patrick Cantley. But at 50-1, like, yeah, no, absolutely. Because you stare at that leaderboard, and damn, does a guy like Hatton, like me, like, I don't know, he sort of fits in this top like 10 pack, especially with I'm not a place better because I'm not smart. And I'm not really looking to have like a free roll next week. I just like to chase like a big pot of honey, Andy. Like, so I get how like even Hatton with those extended placings at 50, 55 is incredibly attractive. There is a 55 that I'm even seeing. I want to say it's from Bet365. So that's not bad. But on that note, like, do guys like Casey or Sergio, I know we've kind of jumped right back into this, but feisty Euro. I mean, Sergio's 15th in driving distance this year. Like, he could check a lot of boxes.
I have made 3 bets so far. I've bet Sergio at 80-1 on FanDuel. He's down to 65 now. I think he's 66 at most places. I've bet Hatton at 50, and I've bet Berger at 41. So I haven't checked out that Dave Tyndall article yet, but I'd love to see that Berger is in the mix for him as well. I just, for me, just circling back to Hatton for a second, I'm with you on the feisty Euro thing. I think that a lot of people are going to look at driving distance this week, and I would just say be careful with the driving distance thing. It's a bit of a misleading stat. Like, Geoff, I've been to over 20 professional golf tournaments, a couple US Opens, a couple PGAs, and gotten a chance to watch these guys on the range. Like, trust me, if you took a poll of the PGA Tour players and asked them who are the longest hitters on tour, it's not going to line up with the driving distance ranking. Like, there's going to obviously be some similarities. I'm not saying don't look at it at all, but if you watch these guys in the course, like Justin Thomas has 8 different shots he hits with his driver. He hits like a low little running hook. He can hit like a little sawed off 30-yard cut. Like, these guys do different things on the course. And just because a dude is ranked like 88th in driving distance this week, that doesn't mean he's not long enough to play on this course, because it's very, very, very rare that a player is hitting like a stock driver on the course. They're so advanced in the different things that they're trying to do that don't be, I'm just saying, be careful with driving distance.
Like, to be fair, like, is Kevin Kisner long enough to win this on this court? Like,
yeah. I mean, there's some people that
like, I'm just being like, no. But hey, 20th place, great. Like, that's like, I make a lot of money finishing 20th place.
Yeah.
When you guys tell me I shouldn't show up or something.
You're right. There's some guys that it's going to be really, really difficult for them to compete. But I look at someone like a Hatton, I look at somebody like a Fitzpatrick, and I don't necessarily think that there is a pathway for them not to win this tournament, just because like the proximity distances and the long par 4s and the long par 5s, there are a lot of guys like Patrick Reed that aren't long hitters at all, but they do really well on longer courses. Fitzpatrick's another one of those guys too.
Yeah,
but
he does, yeah.
But Hatton was the one that jumped off the board to me in terms of kind of the feisty Euros that you were talking about. Wallace too, by the way. Like, I really like Wallace. For me, once you get deeper in, I'm thinking about like a Wallace Leishman.
Oh,
maybe yeah.
No, absolutely. And listen, there's, we're going to go lower in a second. I'm not like here to like throw a parade for Wallace, but 100-1, like, I can like Wallace. Like, I don't like Wallace over Hatton. No, I don't think that's being said by, but yeah, so I'm not really putting them in the same group. And even, Leishman, seeing him at 80. He fits the profile. I know the boys were debating it today. Friends of mine, Eric Patterson, Joe, Tour Picks, they were getting into a back and forth a bit on
I missed that.
Kiowa and Leishman's name, came up. So the guy hits it a mile. 8-1. Like, you feel like he's ready to do it. I don't know. Yeah. So I got, listen, a lot of thoughts running.
Have you bet anyone yet, Geoff? Do you have any official bets in?
Running through my head. I gotta find it. I'm not really I do have a Woodland bet because I bet him to win the US Open, and I felt like this was Oceanside also, so I needed to piggyback it. But
by the way,
pretty small.
Speaking of Oceanside, I did a little mixed condition model where I looked at the guys on windy and moderate courses. I just thought about this guy because you said coastal. I think Griot is interesting. I'll give you the 4 guys in this field averaging over 2 strokes on the field in windy or moderate conditions. It's Dustin, Rahm, Corey Connors, Morikawa, and Griot.
Okay.
No interest in Griot. I can't tell
listen,
you.
I could see that he's 100 and there's even a 200 on him. My head's just not like there yet. If I
Yeah,
play
I
Grio,
just think
like
he's
me,
interesting.
I'll be honest. I don't like hold it. Like I don't even pretend to be. If I'm betting on Grio, it's literally because like you sold me on it or someone like you like sells me. My brain is like not in that place. It's just not in that place for the major to find that. Looking at like other markets, I can get behind Rio, but Grio. But in terms of like the outright market, my head just isn't there. When I do play those long shots, it is sort of like seeing guys that, yeah, I trust. If I trust you, I might play the long shot you recommend. Sometimes I might do it. Sometimes I will not. Unless you got something to say about those top six guys, I don't really. I'm ready to just move past. It feels like most of us are going to have a decision to make. I will tell you, I could probably. Now it's just personal. It's just personal because it's majors, and I like to bet guys who I do want to see win. I would be betting Bryson or Rahm ahead of Spieth, but I would have said that. I would have said that last week, Andy. And last I checked, Spieth's playing better than both of them. Right?
True.
This tournament's not in Texas, though. That being said, Spieth, like he's just back, man.
Yeah.
Like I know it's like the win. Okay, yes, the win is back, but and I even said I was adamant, even when like people like Tim were like picking on the field. I was like, no, he played too well since Torrey Pines. The win means he's back. He's just picking up right where he left off, doing that shit to on his last yesterday. He's just back. The magical shot in that like grass hosel, totally back. He'll be, well, geez, I'm at a loss for words. The Grand Slam. I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it. I like Jordan Spieth. I can cheer for Jordan Spieth. I've said this to Mayo many times, Andy, till he wins a major again. Like I can be happy for him, but once it like just becomes the past again, I'm going to get angry with him. I think I'm expecting that. Until then, Bryson, Dustin, Rahm, they'd all have my money before him.
Well, let me ask you a question. What do you think we're going to get any drift on Dustin? Like, what number would you bet Dustin at? And / how concerned about the knee are you?
I don't really know.
I find myself being not as concerned maybe as I should be. Like, I like Dustin's on my short list, dude. Like, if we're talking about the top, the three guys that I'm actually deciding between are Dustin, Hovland, and Xander.
Okay, then let's just have that discussion because I don't really think anyone needs us to debate Rahm or Bryson or Rory. I like Dustin. I
like them all. I
know what you're saying. Like I'm happy that you're just going back a tier because I don't even care to talk about this top end. It's for if they win, congratulations. And in speaking of, I mean, just in terms of Rahm, I guess the only thing I would say is at least in the 6-year window, and I can call it a 6-year window because my daughter turns 5 next week. And congrats. I think me and Mayo did congrats me. It's a tent pole because someone reminded me, and I think me and Mayo started a year before that. So in the 6-year window in which I've been talking golf with Mayo, 2 guys have won majors under 20-1 for their first time, and it was Dustin and Jason Day. Rahm will do it. Rahm will do it, but I don't know. And maybe I do bet him next week, but it's just an enormous ask, and there'll be more time to discuss it. Xander, I'm seeing a high water number of 22. We're all confident he'll contend. You're confident he'll win.
I like Xander. I really do. I don't know if I'm going to end up getting there. Like I said, I want to see what this DJ number does as the week goes on. I think the Hovland number is only going to go down. I think Hovland is going to be super popular. Like they're going to look at, I think both of his wins were on PrizePicks. And I've been just in my initial research, I haven't been able to find a ton of PrizePicks stuff, but Hovland, it's his best surface and it's not particularly
I'll bet it
close.
At 28-1 right now. Like, do I need to wait? It's not getting to 30. If it's not getting to 30,
no way it's getting
then
to
I'm
30.
betting it. Then I'm going to bet it.
I may
just
do
who
it.
I want to win.
I might do it right now with you too. The only hesitation from not doing it live on this show with you right now is that I know if I bet Hovland at 28, already having Berger and Hatton and having some interest in a guy like Joaquin Niemann too, then I'm not going to end up betting Xander or DJ. Like if you bet Hovland at 28, are you going to have another guy below him?
I could.
Sure,
I could.
but then how much are you going to do in that juicy 30 to 70 range? Because I think that range is juicy.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. And that's where it hit last year. Hit Bryson 28, Morikawa 35. But I was on Dustin at Harding Park also. I was into that Sunday. I felt the only guy that could have ruined it for me would have been Scheffler or Wolf. And I'm happy they went away. Yeah, Dustin, I've seen some 16s where I am. It's very tempting. But Hovland, I just want it too bad, Andy. And at majors, I've admitted to this, not to say I'm like the sharpest knife in the drawer when it comes to regular weeks, but like majors, I literally like to bet on guys I just want to see win. Like I'm guilty of it. Like I don't care. It's a major. Here having fun, making losing bets.
Yeah.
But I'll just go down. I'll go down. Like I am so his last event, I bet him to win by a field goal. I'm not going to pick him here. I feel he came second at the Valspar. I know it wasn't a contending second, but it still shows up as T2 on any grid you're going to look at now.
Quail Hollow too, back to back. Or third at Quail Hollow.
He does feel like last year's Xander, though, because remember Xander was like 30 kind of all year, and then like the week of it, just 2018, probably even as low as 16 last year. Xander before Harding Park.
The only thing I'll say is he has some like I may have been the only person to have really been following Hovland closely at the team event on Sunday after they made like the 3 bogeys in the first 4 holes. I swear to God, if Chris Ventura wasn't saving this guy's ass, like Hovland would have shot like an 85 that day.
Listen,
his floor is low.
But that is now I'm reminding myself that I bet baby Rory instead of senior Rory at last week, and I didn't win my bet. But it was a Rory vibe, and people can laugh at that. I do see them as like very similar.
Oh, for sure.
And their ceilings are similar, but Rory, of all those big boys, man, no one flirted with 80 like for a top 5 player in the world more than Rory. And back in the day, I used to joke with Mayo that Rory was like that Pittsburgh Steelers fantasy offense. Like they had everything, and some days they would shoot like 62. And then some days, like literally in the first quarter, you knew these guys are doing nothing today, like nothing. And it would, like, yeah, he is very much like he's like that. So
he kind of I like how he does some weird stuff, but he'll grind. Like remember he started out the Masters with a triple bogey, and then like he ended up finishing top 25. But it's in him. He's got it. He hasn't gotten rid of like he goes super low, but he hasn't gotten rid of like the occasional like the bogeys yet. He hasn't really cleaned it up.
We're gonna get into that debate next week, and where there's a side of people, and I'll probably be talking to one on Monday morning who has me on his show forever, and my boy Mayo. He's gonna be like, wait, you guys are disrespecting Morikawa. Like now Victor's at like jump to 20, 22, 24, and Morikawa's gonna jump the other way to like 30, 32.
It's a good point. I mean,
I don't know. Should we just chill out for a moment? Like,
I think Morikawa is I think people are going to rule out Morikawa because of the length. And again, I've already mentioned how I'm not necessarily sure that's fair. I'm more concerned about Vic, you can throw into this category too, but the short game, Geoff, I think is going to be really important this week as well. Like just digging into some of the numbers from the 2012 PGA, like the scrambling percentage, like way, way astronomically below your tour average. Even more so, like it was harder to get up and down at Kiawah in 2012 than it was even so to hit greens in regulation. So I may be concerned about Morikawa's like just ability to like score on this course. Whereas I think Hovland can just like get into crazy mode. But yeah, I mean, It's tough. I mean, there are a bunch of guys like even you think I think we're gonna start seeing some like 30s on Brooks.
Yeah, probably. I'll go full disclosure. I haven't been able to watch a ton of golf over these 2 days, so I don't really know what people are seeing at this moment. But yeah, Brooks, Hideki, Cantley, Reed, Webb. I mean, that's who we got in front of 40. And then, so just give me, I guess, your thoughts on them, because once we get to 40, there's a few guys I'd like to bounce off you.
By the way, that wasn't totally fair to use short game as just looking at the numbers real quick. That wasn't totally fair of me to use short game as a knock on Morikawa when we're just having this love party for Hovland. Morikawa does slightly have a better short game than Hovland by my numbers, so yeah, I acknowledge that. But to answer,
I want to just go back on that, because to pick either of them to win a tournament like this, they're just gonna do what they do great. So like Emma. Does Victor like struggle chipping? Yeah, but I'm betting him to win, which means I think his greens and regulation percentage is going to be unconscious.
Exactly.
And I think if I'm betting on Morikawa, I'm betting on his strokes gained approach to be like top 5 in the field. And I'll worry about that other stuff. Am I going to need a clutch Sunday par save to get momentum, to hold momentum, to keep me in it, to keep my lead, to keep me one back, whatever that is? Of course, you don't win without that. But yeah, I'm betting on the ceiling. So the things they don't do well when I need them to be almost perfect to win, don't stop me. Like, because that would have stopped me from betting Gary Woodland to win the U.S. Open. Like, no, you just have to think the things they do well, they're going to do great. And Gary decided to chip that week. And the things they do bad, they're going to have a great week with. Like, that's how you win a goddamn major. It doesn't happen another way.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not like a top chalk player who like has so many ways to win. You know?
No, 100%. And I think people are going to be like, these narratives just like already get built in where it's like, is Morikawa really going to win back-to-back PGA championships?
Well, I could say the same thing about Hideki. Like, should I just put a red marker through Hideki because he's not that fucking charmed? Like, it doesn't work like that, man. Like, well, happy for you. That was amazing. But it just doesn't work like this. Like, you're not going to win. You're not going to roll this one off.
Yeah. It's not that easy. Yeah.
Yeah. It took you that long to win that first one. You're just going to do it again? Okay. So, like, if you said, like, I had to put red ink through one guy, it would be Hideki just because of, like, the law of averages.
Yes, I agree, which I believe in, by the way.
Yeah, no, I want to say it's real. If the course plays a certain way, you're going to hope you have Patrick Reed on your ticket, though.
Absolutely. He's another one of those short game guys. I think getting into that range, I'm looking right now on
is Webb red ink?
No, I don't. His path is harder. He's not somebody I'm going to bet.
Would you rather Webb or Reed?
Reed, for sure.
Yeah,
oh, for sure.
And what about all of them versus Cantley? Like, maybe Cantley flirts to 35 or to 40. Like, then what? Then what, Andy?
Yeah, can't. I'll tell you what. You know who looked really good for me just in some of like my initial modeling is Finau too.
Oh, I wanted to get buddy. We're gonna save a little pocket. He's part of that next one. So yeah, he's got a dude. I've come to like. I've gone to bed a few nights this week thinking like my card might just be like Bryson, Victor, Finau, and like maybe someone like deep for fun that I want. I don't know. I'm not saying that's smart, but like that's just who I really want to see win. I don't know. That's where I am, but I forget who I just asked you about.
Wait, can I ask you? Wait, do you want to do Finau later? Because I have a Finau question.
Yeah, we're gonna do Finau in a moment. You just tell me Cantley, because I don't know what to make of him. A lot of people were happy or took the plunge at Wells, thinking we got 30s now on Cantley. Like this is an auto go. I didn't win a bet at Wells Fargo, but I certainly wasn't on that bet. What would your thoughts be if this thing gets to 38, 35, 40 to 1?
So Cantley's missed 4 cuts in a row, right? And I think there's kind of 2 schools of thought with this buy the dip thing, where it's like you see guys like Rory get to 20 and immediately win. You see guys like JT get to 20 and immediately win. You see a guy like Cantley, like 20 at 20 at like decent tournaments and like 25 in majors, stuff
and
like
12
that.
and like 12
Yeah.
at like Pebble when he shows up with a, and like, you know, he can be the chalk too.
But Geoff, the only problem with the buy the dip thing, and take it from somebody who's been betting a lot of Jason Day, you only hear the stories about the Brooks winning at Waste Management, the Rory winning at Quail Hollow, the Justin Thomas winning at the Masters. You don't hear the story about all the people that bought the dip on Jordan Spieth for a year and watched those odds climb while he was in his slump, or Jason Day and kept saying buy the dip on Jason Day, or Ricky Fowler, buy the dip on Ricky Fowler. So the buy the dip thing can backfire a little bit. There's a chance that Cantlay's just not playing great golf
Yeah,
right
but
now.
you could make the case that like, look at like Sam Burns. Like the dip was still there at 90. And if you look before the slump, Cantlay was like T5 everything. Burns was like T5 everything. He slumped. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, I in my head, I could probably, you could find whatever you need to like support the bet that you're gonna make. Like,
Geoff, it's only Friday. Like I could I could find a lot more. I could find a lot more stuff on Cantlay where I could easily be talked into Cantlay.
Of course. You know, and with those players, I think we are sometimes interested in buying the dip with the elites because we do have this intrinsic belief that the fix is like smaller than a fingernail. Like it's the cheekiest little like it could happen in the middle of a joke in a putting like practice. Like the smallest little thing clicking at that level. You talk to like a batter in baseball or in any of these pro athletes, like the fix, the margin is so small. So I'm always confident they can find it. Especially, listen, I know he's got the back issues. I'm not saying he's a range rat, but especially like, okay, you know, you see like a guy Bryson struggle. Like you always know, like, well, no one is grinding harder to fix it. So like, I'm okay going back. Fun conversation. Let's now go to this next part because when I'm looking at it, it seems weird. 3 names only sitting in this 40-1 range, at least at just what I'm looking at as the high number, all intriguing. Berger, who we know, I've bet him at the Masters.
I'm in.
I'm a sucker for this guy. He is much like the case I made at the Masters, and I was probably way ahead of myself, Andy, because I don't think he'd ever broken like 70 there. So I probably should have just, instead of like, but I can make the same case. Like in terms of all the historical data, this is like the number, this is the guy, this is the spot on the betting board.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is sort of what I am going on to make this case, followed by Finau, who, geez, if somebody I like and respect, like I could just do it blind, like, cause I need to do it, and I'm crazy. And then quickly, like Cam Smith does a lot of things that might be required here. But it's a shorter number than you'd probably feel comfortable doing.
Can we throw Neiman in that category too?
Yeah, we can. He's just farther down the odds board. But
I saw him. Is there like I'm seeing him at 50.
At 365 is a 70.
Oh.
And there's
Oh, wow. You're right. He is a little bit in a farther down tier, closer to like.
But I would more rather put like Answer, Fitzpatrick, Scheffler, Hatton into this conversation if you
sure.
If you want. I mean, listen, we talked feisty, Hatton's got the win, but like, is Answer feisty? Like, could we just pretend he's European?
Yeah. Amazing Pete Dye too.
Yeah. Amazing Pete Dye. Can he handle this distance? Can you get behind him in the same ways you could get behind Hatton?
Maybe.
No.
No, look, I always bang the drum for some of these shorter players on the longer courses, in terms of like looking closer at the proximity distances and how they play long holes. And Answer's fine. He does play long par 4s well. He does play par 5s well. He does have good proximity numbers from 200 yards plus. And there's 2 players in this entire field, Geoff, that are averaging over 2 strokes per round on Pete Dye courses over their last 24. It's Answer and Bryson. Now, I would say be very careful with the Pete Dye comps because, as you know, this ain't Harbor Town. Like, this is 1,000 yards longer than Harbor Town. It's 800 yards longer than TPC Sawgrass. It's 1,000 yards longer than TPC River Highlands.
It ain't Pete. Yeah, it ain't. Yeah.
It's not a real Pete Dye course. It's like Whistling Straits is probably the comp you want to be looking at. But Answer does. With that being said, Dye still has a lot of, like, I went through the hole by hole of this course. It does have a lot of the things that Dye likes to do, just with beefier yardages. So it's a long-winded way of saying I like Answer, but I could not see myself getting on him because I already have Berger at 40 and Hatton at 50.
And it does feel like, maybe a few weeks ago I was seeing some big like 80s on Answer, 85s, but now he's kind of creeped into a tier
I'd still rather bet Sergio.
Yeah, I was just going to say he's now creeped in a tier where he's beside a lot of guys who, you probably push come to shove might rather pull that trigger on. I mean, Sergio, Casey, you might even argue for the layout Scheffler for the same number.
Sure.
Could make that case. Geez, I actually, while you were talking, I just peeked at the leaderboard, but I want to go back here. Seems like there'll be a bit of a dip on Zalatoris next week.
Yeah. I mean, this is now 2 weeks in a row that he's been extremely popular.
It's been,
Yeah. He played really well today. And by the way, he just putted terribly on Thursday too. I think there's a decent chance that I hope, obviously, because I bet on him. I hope he has a good weekend. I think it depends how he does over the weekend. I think there are a lot of people also, Geoff, that got early in on Zalatoris like around Masters time. I think there are a lot of people that around Masters time got him at like 66 or whatever and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I think there are probably a lot of early Zalatoris tickets. He's not going to make it for me. I'd rather bet Neiman, dude.
Yeah, no, Neiman, 65, 70. He's a guy I've been looking at a lot. I've got a local book with the 65 that I've been talking with Tour Picks because we sort of have same access to a weird, wherever their server is that gives them the number. So we communicate on that. And we're like, we probably shouldn't be greedy with this 65. Like, yes, there's a 70 out there, but it's probably way more likely to drop to those other numbers. You don't have to sell me on Neiman at all. He does a lot of what I would be looking for. But just to piggyback a bunch of names that will probably be in a betting range with Neiman: Scott, Connors, Louis, Rose, Sergio. Like Neiman over all of them, eh?
Sergio and Neiman would be my favorite. They're the best ball strikers of that group. Sergio, the problem with Sergio, and I kind of like dug into this a little bit after I bet him. Do you know, Geoff, that since winning the Masters?
Oh, I know. He has become, I said a thing off the top here that Mickelson in a respectful way has kind of like been a mascot on tour, but I'm happy. Like I did a rant. I'm just happy he took that invitation. Sergio at major championships has essentially been a ceremonial golfer, like ceremonial golfer in major championships. There was one cut made, maybe, right?
He's played in 14 majors since he won the Masters. He's only made the cut in 4 of them, and he's never finished better than 21st. So he's missed the cut in 10 of his last 14 majors, and he's missed 5 consecutive cuts at the PGA Championship. Not great. Not great. But
No.
let me give you this though. Obviously we know the off the tee stuff has been phenomenal. He hit the ball. I haven't been looking at the leaderboard today, so I haven't been following him. He hit the ball incredibly yesterday and putt well too. And there's only 3 guys in this field that have, the top 3 guys in this field on long courses, actually, it's Rory, Corey Connors, and Sergio. Just dominate 7,400 yard plus courses. So I think with Sergio, the logic is like, the ball striking is going to show up. You're probably going to go crazy watching him grind out some 5-footers in the wind. But I think like as much as I am,
can he win?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think he can.
Okay. No, that's the question. Yeah. You're going to rant, but can he win? All you got to do is say is yes, and then you go for it, because I'm sure it'll be hyper popular in games and in games, in the DFS formatting, the other markets, your top 20s, even like some European props, what have you. It's all things are pointing to Surge. They were pointing to Surge before the Masters. Okay, quickly on these two, and then you'll quickly give me a bomb, and then we got to go.
Okay.
I mentioned Cam Smith at 40 on the board. I think we both agree Leishman at 80 we'd rather than just Cam Smith at 40. And I know we kind of ignored Day and Scott, but I'm not
ignoring Day.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm sure you're right up, so you'll catch all of that. There's probably more dip to come. I would lean Day over Scott. I don't think we need to even have that debate, but I'd lean Leishman over Cam. I don't even think it's fair to pair them, but they were partners and they're both Australian. Therefore, I'm going to block you together. But Woodland or Leishman?
Leishman. You know what though? I watch all your guys. I've been watching for a while, and I watched your guys' major show at what was it, in January or something, where you guys kind of did your major predictions and made those early bets. I liked what you were thinking with Woodland. And by the way, he played great at Quail Hollow. I'd still go Leishman, but this does check a lot of boxes for Woodland. Coastal.
He can hang. He can hang when he's got a foot. When he's got to throttle it up. If he's in form, if he's feeling it,
hit those stingers off the tee. Yeah.
So there's a bit of a fit there. I feel like we've talked about everybody, because to me, once you sort of get to 80-1 in a major championship, I don't think we miss the winner. But in a couple of minutes, just talk to me about deep. I know, a Bubba Watson 100. A lot of love for Corey Connors, but I'm a sucker to say Siwoo Kim is probably a better bet, 100-1. Give me anything. Even if you want to go super crazy, I don't care. You mentioned Griot, who I could see at 200, so we have that.
Well, and I know you've been on him in the props too. I don't think I would bet either of these guys to win, but I'd probably have interest in them in the top 40 market. But
Chris Kirk, what?
Yeah. And Hoffman and Chris Kirk and Charlie Hoffman have been playing such great golf.
Oh, Hoffman's a form rocket. And has Kirk dwindled? Or we still can trust it?
Dude, he made a triple bogey on the 17th hole at the Valspar. He's fine.
Okay.
To miss the cut by 1.
Listen, these are things that Burns is winning by 8. I'm kind of not really watching that. And
okay. People can sleep on Kirk all they want. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm seeing him 120 on FanDuel.
I'm seeing a 175, which I believe is 365.
I'm going to get this odds checker grid up. Still, I'm on par with you, because
well, we're going to get out of here in a minute, so don't worry about that.
Okay,
Jason
cool.
Kokrak 140.
Yeah, interesting. How about Davis at 150?
I mean, Kenny Wynn.
No.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Right? That's just a Kenny Wynn.
No. Peters 210.
Yeah, his putting has been horrid. Yeah. But part of me for a Super Bowl might feel I have to go back for the distance, potentially. And as everybody knows, he's actually really good on really hard courses. So we take the distance and go to a hard course. Maybe it does work for Peters. There was one more name here. I mean, people are, I don't know how feisty he is. I saw some European friends of mine on the internet debating, is he overrated? Did he get a little too much hype? But he's a bomber and he's European. Any love for the Bobby Mack conversation that I know my buddy Sky at FTN will probably be having next week.
Sure. I mean, he's in that, I'm going to have to make a decision between a couple guys in there in terms of
skill set. Are you debating guys of the same skill set, or are you debating which skill set I am playing?
I'm more debating numbers wise in there, what makes the most sense. If I'm going to choose similar players in McIntyre's, what are you saying on Bobby Mack right now?
125.
Yeah.
It's not high enough.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, can he win? I don't think so. I think there are a lot of guys, prop wise. I think Matt Jones is going to play really well. I don't think he's going to win.
Yeah, Team Aussie. That whole Aussie DFS
lineup.
Andy, Thank you so much, man. This was a blast. Originally, I didn't know how far we'd get into the field because we kind of got stuck at the top, but I think we did a really good job of powering through. So I'm pretty excited about what we did, and I think it could live kind of through the weekend. And I've got no issues that we ignored that golf tournament happening right now with a cut line that I assume is going to finish at 6. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this afternoon. PGA Championship next week. We'll be loaded at it again here on FTN. PrizePicks, prizepicks.com. Use that promo code FTN. We have season-long NFL props we can get in on right now. I'm leading that under on Ben Roethlisberger. I'm just seeing the names that he's being compared to with a stat like that. 4,300 yards. I'll play the under there, and I'm looking forward to later this evening when they list their Saturday PGA Tour projections. I'll be making my bets, no doubt. And all week next week, PGA Championship here. I'll be back Wednesday night. You know the team at FTN will have you covered for that major on one of America's finest golf courses. I'll buy into all the hyperbole. I'll be delivering a lot of the hyperbole myself. It's a major championship week. I'm excited. I'm Geoff Fienberg. We'll see you next time.